really think the world operates on goodness? Look around you. The people in charge are not the nice guys. They are the ones who understand the grand joke. You want to know the punchline. The punchline is absolute power. There are 48 laws of power. I am going to teach you how to use them to watch their pristine society burn to the ground. Let us start with the people you foolishly think you can trust. Law number 2 dictates that you must never put too much trust in your friends. You see, friends are incredibly dangerous liabilities. They will betray you so quickly because they are easily aroused to toxic envy. They become completely spoiled. They become highly tyrannical. You give them a single inch and they want the entire city. But an enemy. Oh, an enemy is a beautifully sharp tool. Learn exactly how to use your enemies. If you hire a former enemy, he will be vastly more loyal than any friend. Why? Because he has so much more to prove to you. In fact, you actually have far more to fear from your so-called friends than from your enemies. If you do not have any enemies right now, you need to quickly find a way to make them. A good, violent enemy keeps you sharp. A good enemy keeps you alive in the dark. Now, let us talk about the beautiful art of orchestrated chaos. Law 3 tells us to constantly conceal our intentions, keep everyone completely off balance. Keep them stumbling blindly in the dark by never, ever revealing the true purpose behind your actions. If those pathetic little pawns have absolutely no clue what you are up to, they cannot possibly prepare a defense against you. You must gently guide them far enough down the wrong path. Envelop their fragile minds in enough thick, choking smoke. And by the time they finally realize your true, terrifying intentions, it will be entirely too late. The trap snaps shut, and part of this grand illusion involves keeping your mouth tightly shut. Law 4. Always say much less than necessary. When you are desperately trying to impress people with your words, the more you speak, the more incredibly common you appear. You look completely out of control. Even if you are saying something completely banal, it will seem highly original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful entities impress and deeply intimidate the masses simply by saying less. The more you open your mouth, the more likely you are to say something incredibly foolish. So you stay quiet, but you do not stay invisible. No. Law 6 demands that you court attention at all absolute costs. Everything in this shallow world is judged entirely by its appearance. What is unseen counts for absolutely nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the boring, gray crowd. Never let yourself be buried in total oblivion. You must stand out. You must be heavily conspicuous at all cost. Make yourself a massive, undeniable magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, and infinitely more mysterious than the bland, timid masses. You put on the makeup. You wear the bright purple suit. You make sure they see you in their nightmares. But what is a painted face without a reputation? Law 5 heavily warns that so much depends entirely on reputation. You must rigorously guard it with your very life. Reputation is the absolute cornerstone of all true power. Through your reputation alone, you can intensely intimidate and win the entire game. But the exact second it slips, you become highly vulnerable. and you will be violently attacked on all sides by the hyenas. Make your dark reputation completely unassailable. Always be hyper-alert to potential attacks and meticulously thwart them before they ever happen. Meanwhile, you must intimately learn the beautiful art of destroying your enemies by strategically opening glaring holes in their own reputation. And then, you just stand safely aside, and you let the court of public opinion hang them by the neck. The blind crowd loves a good bloody public execution, and you never, ever argue with the crowd. Law 9 strictly states that you must win through your calculated actions, never through cheap argument. Any momentary triumph you think you have magically gained through arguing is just a pathetic, Pyrrhic victory. The deep resentment and the toxic ill will you stir up is vastly stronger and lasts infinitely longer than any momentary, forced change of opinion. It is fundamentally more powerful to get others to agree with you through your physical actions without saying a single word. Demonstrate your madness. Do not explicate it. And when you finally decide to strike the match, Law 15 is absolute. Crush your enemy totally. All the great, terrifying leaders throughout history have intimately known that a feared enemy must be completely and utterly crushed. If even one tiny, microscopic ember is left alight, no matter how dimly it smolders, a massive, raging fire will eventually break out. So much more is lost through stopping halfway than through total, absolute annihilation, because the surviving enemy will slowly recover, and they will seek violent, bloody revenge. You must crush him not only in his physical body, but completely and utterly in spirit. Break his mind. Show him the punchline to the joke. You have to deeply understand the sick biological psychology of the herd. They are so easily infected by weakness. Law 10 is about this exact infection. You must aggressively avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. You can literally die from absorbing someone else's misery. Emotional states are exactly as infectious as deadly flesh-eating diseases. You may genuinely, foolishly feel you are helping the drowning man, but you are only precipitating your own glorious disaster. The unfortunate often actively draw misery upon themselves, and they will absolutely draw it right onto you. Associate strictly with the happy and the highly fortunate instead. Let the miserable rot in their own filth. But you need the herd to survive. Law 11. Learn to keep people totally dependent on you. To aggressively maintain your ultimate independence, you must always be desperately needed and intensely wanted. The more you are heavily relied upon, the more absolute freedom you physically possess. Make the little pawns depend entirely on you for their baseline happiness and their prosperity, and you will have absolutely nothing to fear from them. Never, ever teach them enough so that they can function without you. You are the invisible puppet master. They are just the tangled strings, and if you want to truly rule them, look closely at Law 27. Play heavily on people's desperate, pathetic need to believe in order to create a massive, cult-like following. People have an overwhelming, crushing desire to believe in something greater than themselves. You must become the focal point of that dark desire by offering them a grand cause, a shiny, untested new faith to blindly follow. Keep your spoken words incredibly vague but absolutely full of grand promise. Emphasize wild, foaming enthusiasm over cold rationality and clear, critical thinking. Give your new, desperate disciples bizarre rituals to perform. Ask them to make bloody sacrifices on your behalf. In the vast absence of organized religion and genuine grand causes, your brand new, manufactured belief system will bring you untold, terrifying power. Let us dig a little deeper into the madness of control. Law 14. Pose as a friendly, smiling face, but work in the absolute dark as a spy. Knowing the intimate, dirty details about your rival is absolutely critical. Use your little spies to aggressively gather valuable information that will keep you one crucial step ahead of the executioner. Or better yet, play the spy yourself. In polite, sickeningly sweet social encounters, you must learn to ruthlessly probe. Ask highly indirect, calculated questions to get the sheep, to accidentally reveal their deepest weaknesses and their hidden intentions. There is absolutely no social occasion that is not a golden opportunity for artful, malicious spying. And to execute this perfectly, you must consult Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. You must actively seem infinitely dumber than your mark. Absolutely no one on this planet likes feeling stupider than the next person. The grand, beautiful trick, then, is to make your pathetic victims feel incredibly smart. And not just smart, but significantly smarter than you are. Once they are firmly, arrogantly convinced of this lie, they will never, ever suspect that you may have dark, ulterior motives plotting against them. You play the stumbling clown. You let them point and laugh. And then you quietly slit their throats in the dark. Because everybody hides a fatal flaw. Law 33 is the absolute masterpiece of human destruction. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Every single human being has a glaring weakness, a gaping, undefended hole in the castle wall. That fatal weakness is usually a deep, unhealed insecurity, an uncontrollable, wild emotion, or a desperate, clawing need. It can also be a tiny, filthy secret pleasure they hide from the world. Either way, once you find it, it is a rusty iron thumbscrew that you can violently turn to your own massive advantage. You find out exactly what they love the most, and you threaten to burn it to ashes. Let us talk about the hilarious concept of human honesty. Law 12 teaches us to use selective honesty and calculated, fake generosity to completely disarm your victim. One single, sincere, and honest move will flawlessly cover over dozens of highly dishonest, malicious ones. Open-hearted, heavily theatrical gestures of fake honesty and fake generosity will instantly bring down the psychological guard of even the most deeply suspicious people. Once your calculated, selective honesty opens a tiny, microscopic hole in their armor, you can ruthlessly deceive and manipulate them at your absolute will. A perfectly timed gift is nothing but a modern-day Trojan horse. It serves the exact same sinister, destructive purpose. You smile warmly. You hand them a brightly wrapped present, and they never see the poisoned dagger in your other hand. And when you actually need something from these pathetic creatures, consult Law 13. When asking for help, you must strictly appeal to people's selfish self-interest. Never, ever appeal to their mercy or their fleeting gratitude. If you desperately need to turn to an ally for assistance, do not even bother to remind him of your past assistance and your so-called good deeds. He will effortlessly find a clever way to completely ignore you. Instead, you must uncover something in your request or in your dark alliance with him that will heavily and physically benefit him. And you enthusiastically emphasize that specific benefit out of all mathematical proportion. He will respond wildly and enthusiastically when he clearly sees that there is something tangible to be gained for himself. Humans are greedy, totally predictable animals. Feed their greed, and they will fetch the stick every single time. But you cannot always be in their faces. Law 16 warns that you must effectively use absence to massively increase respect and honor. Too much circulation in the light makes the price plummet to zero. The more you are physically seen and heard from by the masses, the more incredibly common you appear to them. If you are already deeply established in a group, a sudden, highly noticeable temporary withdrawal from it will make you infinitely more talked about, even more intensely admired in your absence. You absolutely must learn exactly when to leave the stage. You create immense psychological value through deliberate, manufactured scarcity. You vanish into the pitch black night, and they whisper your name in total terror. And while you are gone, you quietly invoke Law 17. Keep everyone in agonizing, biting suspense. Cultivate a terrifying air of total unpredictability. Humans are pathetic, boring creatures of habit. They have an insatiable, desperate need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a false, soothing sense of control. So you violently flip the table. Be deliberately, maliciously unpredictable. Behavior that seems to have absolutely no consistency or logical purpose will keep them entirely off balance. And they will completely wear themselves out, trying to frantically explain your dark, chaotic moves. Taken to an absolute extreme, this strategy can intensely intimidate and terrorize the entire world. I do not have a master plan, I just do things. But do not hide in a physical bunker. Law 18 is very clear on this. Do not build physical fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is incredibly dangerous. Yes, the world is dangerous, and enemies are hiding in every single shadow. Everyone has to actively protect themselves. A heavy stone fortress seems like the safest, most logical bet, but isolation violently exposes you to far more dangers than it actually protects you from. It cuts you off completely from valuable, life-saving intelligence. It makes you highly conspicuous and a ridiculously easy target for artillery. It is vastly better to circulate freely among the sheep, find blind allies, mingle at their pathetic parties. You are perfectly shielded from your true enemies by the sheer, suffocating mass of the crowd. Hide in plain sight. Hide right behind a painted smile. What happens when they foolishly think they have you cornered? Law 22 is the brilliant surrender tactic. Transform your apparent, glaring weakness into absolute crushing power. When you are physically or numerically weaker, never, ever fight for honor's pathetic sake. Choose absolute surrender instead. Surrender gives you precious time to heal and recover, Time to deeply torment and psychologically irritate your arrogant conqueror. Time to patiently wait for his power to inevitably wane and decay. Do not give him the sick, ego-driven satisfaction of fighting and defeating you in combat. Surrender first. By turning the other cheek, you fiercely infuriate and deeply unsettle his mind. Make your physical surrender a lethal, invisible tool of power. You let them lock you in the cage. Because you already stole the keys, you are still in total control. Law 31 mathematically proves it. Control the available options. Get the other rats to play exclusively with the exact cards you deal to them. The absolute best deceptions are the ones that seem to give the other person a free, democratic choice. Your pathetic victims truly feel they are in control of their destiny, but they are actually just your little wooden puppets. Give people a carefully rigged set of options that always come out entirely in your favor, whichever one they blindly choose. Force them to make agonizing, sweat-inducing choices between the lesser of two evils, both of which serve your dark, ultimate purpose. Put them directly on the sharp, bleeding horns of a dilemma. They are violently gored wherever they turn their heads, and while they bleed out on the floor, you play them a sweet lullaby. Law 32. Play heavily to people's deepest fantasies. The cold, objective truth is often aggressively avoided by the herd because it is intensely ugly and highly unpleasant. Never, ever appeal to truth and reality unless you are entirely prepared for the violent, rioting anger that comes from mass disenchantment. Life is so incredibly harsh and deeply distressing that people who can successfully manufacture romance or conjure up vivid, colorful fantasy are treated like magical oases in the burning, dry desert. Everyone blindly, desperately flocks to them for a drink. There is massive, terrifying power in actively tapping into the sick, escapist fantasies of the masses. Sell them a beautiful, impossible dream, and then wake them up to a horrifying nightmare. And if you really want to drive them completely, irreversibly insane, use Law 44. Disarm and brutally infuriate them with the mirror effect. The physical mirror perfectly reflects reality, but it is also the absolute perfect tool for dark, psychological deception. When you perfectly mirror your enemies, doing exactly as they do in every single way, they cannot possibly figure out your underlying strategy. The mirror effect fiercely mocks and deeply humiliates them, making them overreact violently and make critical errors. By holding up a psychological mirror to their fragile, fractured psyches, you heavily seduce them with the sweet illusion that you actually share their core values. By holding up a mirror to their physical actions, you teach them a brutal, unforgiving lesson. Very few human minds can successfully resist the terrifying, reality-bending power of the mirror effects. You show them exactly how ugly and corrupted they truly are on the inside. Before we finish the joke, let us talk about identity. Law 25 demands that you completely, ruthlessly recreate yourself. Do not passively accept the boring, gray, predefined roles that society violently foists upon you at birth. Recreate your entire being by forging a brand new, terrifying identity. One that violently commands attention and absolutely never, ever bores the audience. You must be the absolute, undisputed master of your own dark image, rather than letting pathetic, lesser minds define it for you. Incorporate heavily dramatic, theatrical devices into your public gestures and your everyday actions. Your aura of power will be massively enhanced, and your dark character will seem vastly larger than life. You become a living symbol of absolute chaos, a monument to their hypocrisy. But do not ever mistake my chaos for stupidity. Law 29 is the quiet, heavy anchor of the storm. Plan all the way to the bitter, bloody end. The final ending is absolutely everything. You must plan all the way to it, taking into meticulous, mathematical account all the possible devastating consequences, the hidden obstacles, and the violent twists of fortune that might instantly reverse your hard work and give the unearned glory to others. By silently planning to the very end of the line, you will not be overwhelmed by rapidly shifting circumstances, and you will know exactly when to stop the joke, gently guide blind fortune, and help determine the burning future by thinking incredibly far ahead of the curve. I may look like a mad dog, blindly chasing cars, but I always know exactly which car I am going to catch, and exactly what I am going to do to the driver. Do you want to know how to truly break the system? Law 39, stir up the calm waters to catch the fish. Anger and high emotion are strategically, mathematically counterproductive. You must always remain perfectly calm and clinically coldly objective. But if you can deliberately make your fragile enemies violently angry while you stay perfectly calm, you gain a massive, decided lethal advantage. You put your enemies entirely off balance. You find the specific, unprotected chink in their pathetic vanity through which you can violently rattle their cage, and then you hold the strings. You make them dance to your chaotic, manic tune, and to survive the dance, you must master the final law. Law 48. Assume absolute formlessness. By taking a predictable shape, by having a highly visible, structured, easily readable plan, you open yourself completely to artillery attack. Instead of taking a solid, recognizable form for your enemy to grasp, you must keep yourself endlessly adaptable and constantly on the fluid move. Accept the terrifying, liberating fact that absolutely nothing in this entire world is certain, and absolutely no law is fixed in stone. The absolute best way to violently protect yourself is to be as fluid and utterly formless as water. Never, ever bet your life on stability or lasting, boring order, because everything changes. Everything eventually burns to ash. I am chaos. I am the formless shadow that creeps into their perfectly ordered, pathetic little lives. I do not play by the rules of society because the rules are a pathetic, hilarious joke designed to keep you weak. But I master the rules of absolute power. I master the 48 laws, not to build a boring little kingdom, but to show the world exactly how easily their fragile little kingdoms can be torn apart. That is the real joke. They wrote the instruction manual on how to destroy them. They published the 48 laws. And now, I am simply reading it back to them. Let us put a smile on that face.